Without further ado, you've had a couple of, actually every dish that you've had today is a signature dish of the Veneto. Bisi, the shrimp treviso, the Bellini, which came from Harry's Bar in Venice. And now we're going to talk about, I guess it's almost identified with Italy in general, but it depends on your orientation. It either came from Treviso or Veneto. And to talk about this is one of our members, Alfio Crema, and he will talk a little bit about Treviso and the area, as well as the origins of tiramisu. Now, he also put on the table some flyers about that. And, okay, without further ado.
Thank you, Ken. Buongiorno. Prima, I'm going to give you a little overview. Italy has 126 regions. And Veneto is one of the provinces in the Veneto. And in the Veneto, there are 7 minor provinces: Treviso, Vicenza, Verona, Belluno, Padua, Rovigo, and one more that I lost my notes in, so I can't tell you that one. But just to show you on the map first, Treviso is, the Veneto is up here in the northeast, just above Venice. And it takes in this area here with Padua and all that. Treviso is roughly 20 miles away from Venice. In fact, when we go there from the airport we have a little apartment I was fortunate enough to buy in Treviso. It takes us 20 minutes to get to the airport, from the airport to the apartment. So the whole area of Treviso is very industrious. It ranks with Lombardia, which is Milano, as the two, it's been that way as the 2 most prosperous provinces in Italy. And that's due to a lot of manufacturing, Milano for sure, but in Treviso, the main engine has been the Benetton family, which in matter of fact they were neighbors of my grandparents, neighboring towns. They started like everybody else, just making sweaters in their house, and they've grown into an empire. They do everything but sweaters now almost. They own all the grills that cross the freeways, and they own the airport concessions. They own the airport concessions. They own the train station concessions. They're big. But yet, prior to the Chinese taking over about 10 years ago, they were also the eyeglass capital of the world, the shoe capital of the world, and the Prosecco capital of the world. They still are that. But now China has taken over. Like Benetton outsources everything to China, Croatia, Hungary. So their manufacturing is gone. The region, it's a beautiful country. We're just in the lowlands in Treviso, and the first set of hills are called the Montello, and the Prealps come. In the Prealps is where the Prosecco vineyards are. And everything in Italy, it has to be approved by the government, and it gets docked. Dominazione origine controllata. And when you get that, you're authorized. And so the whole region in the Prealps, all the way over to Conegliano, is where all your Prosecco comes. And here it's made in the Bellini And in Treviso, if you go to Treviso or in the surrounding area, you'll see orange glasses at all the tables. And they'll say, what is that? And that's the drink, Spritz. That's where the Spritz started. It's Aperol, Prosecco, and sparkling water. And they'll put a slice of orange in there. And over here now, I noticed you go to a bar, you get a Spritz, $13, $14, $15. Over there, $3.25, Jer, $2.25, $3 if you're lucky. So anyway, they came to America and we showed them how to raise the prices. So the Prosecco region. Now the eyeglass, when I mentioned the eyeglasses and the shoes, what happened, those were all cottage industries. There would be a main factory and then Germany would have all their ski shoes made in Italy. And then in the last 10 years, everything was taken away and brought to where they could make it cheaper. Also, radicchio, red radicchio is one of the main products of Treviso as well. And you'll see that everywhere, but the radicchio rosso is from Treviso. Then there's a radicchio from Chioggia. There's a radicchio from Conegliano, but the main red wine comes from Treviso. And at this time of year, there's a specialty radicchio that is called Tardivo, which means they've grown it, and it's a heavy workload to do it. They have to transplant it, and they pick it up, all wrinkly because the winter's hitting it, and then they put it in a water trough, and then they set it in there for a period of time. Then they take all the leaves off, trim the bottom, and you see a beautiful red with the curl on top and the root on the bottom. That's a real chin. Treviso itself, the town is idyllic. We've had over 40 people from this area visit us, stay with us over there. And then to the person they say, we want to come back. Treviso has 100,000 people in the outer city, the whole city. But it's a walled city, and inside the walls, there's about 20 to 25,000 people. And the uniqueness of Treviso is it has two rivers that go through it. And there's canals everywhere and bridges. And it's been noted as the Little Venice at times. And there's no boats that travel it, just beauty. In fact, my apartment is on top of a bridge where the river goes through. And that's another story for another day. But getting down to I don't want to take too long, I got down to the tiramisu. In our neighborhood, there's a restaurant called Beccaria. And Beccaria, Beccerie. And what that is, there was an old slaughterhouse there. That's what Beccaria means, slaughterhouse. And when they dig for stuff in the area, they pull out bones out of the ground. Well, at the Beccaria was their family. The Beccaria was owned by the family Campagnol, C-A-M-P-E-O-L. We have a lot of strange endings in our names up in the Treviso area. Like a lot of my relatives, my mother's side is Pacagnanians with an N. My cousins are Pavan with an N. Campagnol is the O-L, and that's tied in more to the Austrian area up above. But anyhow, they own this restaurant. And Alda was the daughter-in-law of the owner. This is, I'm paraphrasing what's on your sheet there. I hope I got the translation right. Where's the teacher? Is she here today? Oh, yeah, she can correct my report. So here's how it happened. Alda, who was the daughter-in-law of the owner's son, she was having a baby, Carlo, in 1962. And it was the first son. And she would be upstairs. The restaurant was down below in a courtyard. They had a hotel across the other courtyard, cute little courtyard. And then upstairs they had apartments where the family lived. And Alda was up there with her son, nursing him. And her mother-in-law, who was the chef downstairs, would come up there, and she'd bring her, she would come up with a bowl of batutin, which is dialect, which is batuto, which means mixed. And it would consist of a mixture of a beaten egg with sugar, cafe, espresso, and savaroldi, which are lady fingers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing savaroldi right, but lady fingers. And she would say to her in dialetto, "Magna che te tiri su." That would be, "Magna che te tira su, che te fa pilate." It says, eat this, and it'll make you more milk for the carbo, and make you feel stronger. When she went back to work in the kitchen, she started experimenting with her mother-in-law's mixture. And she tried adding crema alla Savion Veneziana, which has mascarpone in it. And there it was. Tiramisu was invented. And we were fortunate enough to eat plenty of this while we were there. And it's different. I know now everybody has a recipe. Everybody claims it started somewhere else. These people have the liquor. They do. There's no liquor in the original tiramisu. So, in October 15th, 2010, the Beccaria received a notarized recognition from the Accademia Italiana della Cucina Istituto Culturale della Repubblica. And this was certified as the origin of tiramisu. And a footnote to it is, the restaurant was sold a couple of years ago, and they started saying we were the originators of tiramisu, and what they're making now is nothing like the mother made. Interestingly enough, there was a boy there, a waiter, who'd been there 40 years, Patricio, and he works at another restaurant now, where my grandfather's picture's hanging. And one day I went in there to make a reservation, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm making the tiramisu here." So the same tiramisu that was at the Beccaria is being made now at Tony Del Spin. And the kid, Patrick, knows the recipe by heart, and it's just exactly the way I told you they made it. No liquor.
Can we get the recipe?
What?
Can we get the recipe?
Well, it's sort of on there, on the sheet.
Do we have any more of the flyers on the recipe? If not, I'll have to make some.
You might have to make some.
I'll probably have to make some then, because the recipe is on there. If somebody can give me one, I'll just run it off now. Yeah,
So
okay. And you have to practice your Italian.
So there you have it, and I'll tell you just a couple of the footnotes before I get tired, or you get tired of me. If you ever go to Treviso, I'm telling you, you're going to want to go back. Because it's in the flat, it's got this water all around, great restaurants, people are kind, and it's not, I was telling Ken, there's a war. We don't want to be known as Veneziani. We're known as Trevisani, because we don't want to be associated with Venice. They're rude and crude and treat you like. So when you meet a Trevisano, you're in good hands. But it is a beautiful city. And like I say, with the canals, and it's a walking city. It's a small Lucca. If you've ever been to Lucca, the only thing, our wall got knocked out on one portion, so you can't go all the way around on the wall, about 3/4 of the city. But inside, it's a gem. Thank you for listening. And
Bravo,